Good morning, guys, and we are going to have a great week. Did you guys know that this is a short week? Friday, you have off of school, so we're wanting you to get all of your work done. There's not going to be any, video conferencing on Friday. Friday should be a day off for you guys. So I'm jumping on here to kind of show you what we are doing this week. And I wanted to start with a little bit of a review of culture. What is culture? Okay. So we've kind of talked about it, but culture is the way you dress, right? Things that you wear, the way that you express yourself. In El Paso, we dress much differently than people might in India, right? We also have similarities because our culture and their culture have spread, okay? It's the way you talk, the way that in El Paso, we have Spanish and English mixture together, and that's so different than, let's say, someone that lives in Montreal, Canada, where they speak English and French. And it's just cultural blendings of language as well. Your religion. So the picture I just popped up is a man. He's a Hasidic Jewish man. So he's very religious, and he has a lot of tradition that he follows, okay? The food that you eat, the food that you enjoy, the food that you cook, right? Especially for certain times of the year. Easter is coming up. A lot of people cook lamb on Easter, and that has religious meaning behind it as well, like the sacred lamb and all this other stuff. At Christmas time in El Paso, we eat tamales. So food has a lot to say about your culture as well. All right, just going over the vocabulary that we did last week. Cultural hearth. This is one that a lot of you had an issue with, okay? A cultural hearth is where something begins, and then from there, it can spread. But this is the very beginning, right? So the cultural hearth of Beatles music was in Liverpool, England, okay? The cultural hearth of, let's say, Tiger King was in Oklahoma. That's where it all began. That's where it all was filmed. And then from there it spread. So it's the very beginning of something, okay? All right, formal region. Formal region is where you have multiple traits, multiple culture traits shared by people. So El Paso shares its formal region with Juarez, right? We have like our own little sister city going on, and we share multiple traits. A lot of people in El Paso are Catholic. A lot of people in El Paso speak both Spanish and English, right? People in El Paso tend to really like Mexican food. We have cultural traits that we share. Cultural diffusion. So we talked about the hearth, where it all begins. Diffusion is how it spreads. So Beatles music started in Liverpool, England, and then it spread all around the world. And today you can see it in almost every country, right? Contagious diffusion. So just like culture can have a hearth, viruses can have a hearth too. The virus that we're living through today, COVID-19, started in Wuhan, China, and then through contagious diffusion, spread throughout the rest of China, and then all the way through to most countries in the world today. Lingua franca. So lingua franca is a shared language that people use to do business, right? So lingua franca a lot of times has become English. And it's because it's one of the most common languages in the world. A lot of people are now learning Chinese because that's become a very popular language to do trade with, right? They're learning Mandarin. It's just learning a language that most people use to communicate, even if you speak a different language. A great example of this is that even though a lot of people in El Paso speak Spanish, when they're doing official like business at Walmart's or anywhere like the doctor's office, they'll tend to speak English because most people are expected to be able to speak English, right? Okay, so lingua franca. Built environment. This is the environment that we build to have our culture. You are sitting in a room with a computer and you're doing this digital learning stuff. That's a built environment, right? You have the safety of your house and you have your technology that you're using. Another example of this would be building a building that people go to on Sundays to do religious services, to go get married in, right? To go baptize their children in. That's a built environment. We built something to house our religion. I did not forget about pop culture. Pop culture is one of the easier vocabulary words. And basically what it means is anything that takes over and becomes popular in your culture, okay? So a great example of this is Tiger King. I'm not saying you should watch Tiger King. There is violence, there is explicit language in it, but wink wink, Tiger King is awesome. And it's become a lot of pop culture. Now that we are all social distancing, we're all in our homes, it's become something that people can talk about to each other, share memes. Miss Galicia can tell you I share memes of it like all the time. And that's pop culture. It's something that has become an everyday language for us. But it's something poppy. It's so fun and very of this time period. Okay, so that was a little review of our words. Let me show you what's happening this week. So, of course, you're going to go to Module 2. And you're going to read the information. But basically, some things I want to point out to you is we created a GeoLit newsletter. That is some enrichment. That's some things that they're not due for a grade, but they're really, really fun things that we thought would help you, especially since some of us are getting bored. It really, really helps you. So we have a journal prompt. We think that it's great that you keep like a written journal at this time. You're living through history. It'd be great for you to keep a journal of it. We have some articles about how to disinfect your phone. We have some TED Talks. We have some fun finds. So like a challenging vocabulary, a crossword. We have some learning things like how to write in cursive. That's a great little tidbit. Like it's a super fun way to be able to express yourself through cursive. We have a virtual field trip. We have some books that you could read. We even have some recipes down here. And then time wasters. So Miss Galicia found this and put this together, and I thought it was really, really great. So this is an enrichment activity. It's not due for a grade, okay? All right, let me try to get back to my, see if I can. There you go. Okay, so this week, we are starting off with some culture lecture, and basically that means going over the words that I went over in this video. It also means just talking about what we're up for this week. On Tuesday, there's no conferencing. On Wednesday, we have another culture discussion and also help with any assignments that are due. Thursday, no meeting, work on your assignments. Friday, no conferencing. You should try to have your assignments in, and Friday, again, should be kind of a rest day for you. So, today is conferencing with me and the culture stuff. Tuesday, you're going to have a culture vocabulary quiz. It's over the words that we just went over, okay? So this should be an easy quiz for you. Wednesday, culture video activity. And I'm going to point that out in a second. But you're going to watch a video about the norms and the basics of culture, and you're going to be answering some questions. Okay, so due on Thursday, and you can work on all of this throughout the week. So due on Thursday is a digital Passover activity. Passover is a Jewish holiday that takes place during Easter. For those of you that know the Easter story through Christianity and Catholicism, Jesus was a Jew, woo! And he was celebrating Passover when everything went down in the Christianity faith of him, dying and resurrecting, and that took place during Passover. So he was celebrating his own Passover with his family and his disciples when all of this happened. So I thought it'd be really fun to learn about what Passover is and how it's changing during the age of Corona, because now the Jewish people have had to change what they're doing and go a little bit more digital this year. Finally, due Friday, Ms. Galicia is allowing you to redo the anthem essay and resubmit. Some of you needed to tweak it, needed to fix it. Some of you didn't get it in last week, right? So we need to get that anthem essay resubmitted by Friday, okay? So we have a full week of things. Let me show you where to find on our landing page. Of course, you can always use our virtual cafe to ask us questions. You can also text us through Remind. You need to take attendance every single day, and we have those set up for you, okay? And then vocabulary quiz. Remember, this is due on Tuesday, tomorrow. This is very simple, very easy. You can do this quickly. Culture video, okay? So you're going to watch the video. So in setting, this looks different for you guys. I will post the video just in case you have a hard time finding it, but you have all these different questions to answer for it, okay? And then the digital Passover. This one looks the same for you guys. So you guys are going to watch the Passover video number 1, and then Passover video number 2. Video number 1 describes what Passover is and the basics of it. Number 2, this one describes how it's changing this year because of the coronavirus. And then you are going to write an article for the El Paso Times website, informing the El Paso youth what Passover is in the Jewish religion and how it is changing this year due to COVID-19. The article must be at least 400 words. I will be checking the word count, so you need to be doing a word count for it. And it needs to talk about the following things. It needs to talk about what are the basics of Passover? What is the story of Passover? Like, what do the Jewish people celebrate? What do the Jewish homes have to clean out and avoid eating during Passover? What are some of the traditions of Passover? What do people do on Passover? Is there a special dinner? Do they possibly sing songs or read a certain story? So those are some helpful hints. What do they do on Passover? And then finally, what ways is Passover changing this year? And how is the Jewish community staying connected in quarantine? Remember, it is always better to type in Google Docs or a Word document and then copy and paste in Schoology when you're done so that you don't lose your work, okay? So that's everything for the week.